there, thank you so much for downloading this show. This episode, we discuss a little bit about our trip to Reno. Producer Dub and I went to Reno to celebrate his dad's big birthday, and we barely recovered. So we talk about that. We also give you our take on the Golden Globes. And no, it isn't what you think, because we apparently, according to Producer Dub, we do not think the way most people do. So with that and a few other stories in between, plus our Ugly and Awkward Moments of the week, thank you so much.
It's another uncensored look at the world around you, from sisters who will say just about anything to anyone at any time. It's the Uggs. Jamie?
I'm not trying to get a job here. I just want to know if I can get a pap smear.
Paula?
Don't I sound like such an old lady?
Uncensored as always, it's time for the Uglee Truth.
It's the Ugly Truth, and it is episode 242. Ugh. Little quiet Uggs today.
A little scratchy.
Oh. A little scratchy. Little mogul fry.
I tried to clear it out and it made it worse.
That's pretty much how that works in life, isn't it?
Yeah.
Clear shit out and it makes it worse. Welcome to the Ugly Truth. I'm Jamie with my sister Paula, and happy January, everyone. Really quick, the mudslides in Southern California from the fires are horrifying. I mean, we're getting a lot of rain right now, which is nice because it always feels like we need it. But they got torrential downpours, and now there's mudslides going on, and people are dying. I think there's like 13 people missing right now.
That's horrible.
Way to kick off the show, Jamie. Let's talk about death and destruction right off the gate. But I was just reading about it, so of course I'm just honestly sharing with you that. And then in other news, did you hear about the earthquake that happened about a week ago?
I heard there was an earthquake out at sea, and Puerto Rico is standing by, waiting for
tsunamis.
But...
No, that was today. But last week in the Bay Area in Berkeley, there was a very shallow earthquake, and what I mean is that it was along the fault line, so it was kind of closer to the top of the earth, and not a deep one. And so the fault line that it hit goes 70 miles up north. So it went from Berkeley straight up. And Daryl and I, it happened at like 2:30 in the morning. I think this was like a week ago. And I'm really sensitive at night. I hear and feel everything that happens. Even if the cat is like running down the stairs, I wake up. I don't know why. I used to not be that way, but now I'm a kind of a light sleeper. Anyway, so 2:30 in the morning, I'm dead asleep, and I hear my door jam. And it sounds like a cat is doing, you know how cats do that bunny thing where they take their paws and go da-da-da-da-da on a door because they're out? Well, I thought that's what was happening. I'm like, why is our cat trying to get into our room? They never do that. And it woke me up. And then I was laying there and I woke up Daryl. I'm like, hey, I think Isabel wants out. She wants downstairs or outside or something. And he goes, And I'm like, all right. And so I waited a few more minutes. I said, she's going to wake up Malia, and Malia has school in the morning. So can maybe we do this? He's like, yeah. So he gets up. So I'm laying there thinking, what if it was an earthquake? And I'm like, nah. I said, you know what? Just to make sure that I didn't send Daryl on a fruitless run out through the house at 2:30 in the morning, I'll check Twitter. So I get on Twitter, and sure enough, there was an earthquake, and we felt it. I felt it.
Weird.
Our house shook. So he comes in, and I'll tell you about it later, because I've been waking him up a lot lately. It becomes one of my awkward moments. But I said, I opened the door, and he's standing at the door coming in, and I'm stark naked. And I opened the door, he's like, hello. And I said, it was an earthquake. He's like, what? And I go, it wasn't a cat. It was an earthquake. He goes, get out of here. So we go online, so now we're both on Twitter at 2:30 in the morning looking at everything. And we have a lot of friends and people that we know in the city and in the Bay Area. They were wide awake because it was a hard jolt for them, where cats started meowing, and, it was insane. So I said, I cannot believe we felt it, but it was just the perfect line straight up to Sacramento. A couple of people in Sacramento that I'm friends with felt it. I was surprised. I was so shocked. I said, you know what? That just tells you when all is quiet, it's amazing what you can notice when it's like in the middle of the night. It's crazy.
Wow. I didn't feel a thing.
See, I thought you would, because you're closer to the city than me.
No, I didn't feel anything. So
well, there you have it. Okay, so last week before we recorded, you were going to tell me you had a physical last week. What happened?
So
are you healthy?
Well, I made an appointment because I haven't had a physical in a while, and I wanted, my primary reason for getting the physical is because I wanted to get a referral to an OBGYN because I haven't had one of those in a really long time.
Yes.
And so I figured, well, I better get it done.
Yeah.
You're just like, well, your doctor can do it. And I'm like, I know he can, but I don't want him to.
I really would rather not. I fought that for like 3 years. I used to lie to my doctor, and I would say, he goes, well, when was the last time you had a pap smear, a gynecological exam? I'm like, oh, don't worry about it. I have a gynecologist. He's like, oh, really? Who is it? I'm all, it's Dr. Chin.
George Glass.
Yeah. I'm like, it is Mr. Speculum, Dr. Speculum. Yes, that's it. Dr. George Speculum. And he's like, I see. He's like, all right. He knows I'm lying. But finally, I just relented and said, fine, just do it. I don't want to lie anymore.
So I go in, they call me back. I go in, they do my vitals. They have me step on the scale. And I'm always appreciative when they have it in like, what is it, kilometers or?
Yeah, so you can't tell.
Kilometers.
You're like, oh, that's not that bad. Only 11.
Yeah.
Only 11
and I'm like, hey,
pounds.
75 pounds. I like that.
I'm good. Yeah.
I'm good with that. So I go back in the room and I sit down and I'm like waiting for her to hand me the sheet robe and, where your butt hangs out. And I try and wrap myself as tight as possible, but you can't do too tight because then you'll rip somewhere.
It rips up the side.
She's like, okay. So she's, reviewing my current medication and, my last visit in neurology and, if I'm still taking Imitrex. And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, okay, maybe this is just part of the physical.
Right.
So I'm sitting there and she's like, all right, the doctor will be with you shortly. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, well, maybe you don't need to take off your clothes for a physical. I don't really know. Maybe they just do it through your clothes.
You know what? Daryl doesn't. He does not have to disrobe for his.
Really?
No. He literally just has to drop his pants when they do the rectal or whatever, the prostate exam or whatever they do. He doesn't even have to take off all his clothes. Where you and me usually, you have to take off everything. They're like, and make sure you take off everything. And I'm like, really? I get it. I understand. You don't have to explain.
Yeah. One time, my old OBGYN even... This is funny.
What?
I said, because, I have the most awkward conversation when they're down there.
Oh, me too. I do.
So I'm like, and I don't shave or anything like that. And so he popped his head up and he's like, I can see that. So I was just like, all right.
Oh, God.
This was, when I was single and I wasn't seeing anyone. So I'm like, what's the point?
I told you what my doctor said when he one time.
Yes.
He's like, are we going to Brazil anytime soon? Are we doing some sailing? And I'm like, what?
No.
And I'm so naive and dumb. I'm like, what do you mean? Because I didn't even know a Brazilian was called a Brazilian. I had no idea back then. Now I know, of course.
Funny. So she says, I'm going to leave this paperwork on the desk. The doctor will go over it with you. It's just our annual, I think she called it PPE paperwork.
Okay.
She says, because you're on a controlled substance. And I'm like, okay.
I am.
Because I take pain medication for my bad hip. Don't I sound like such an old lady? I know, right?
You sound like an old dog.
I know. Somebody just shoot me.
Do you wrap that pill in bologna or cheese so you can get it down?
So I can choke it down.
You're like, my bad hip. You have a bad hip.
All my problems started after I had Ryan and Olivia.
So we can blame the children for this.
I'm just letting you know. For those of you cute, young, tight-pussied, beautiful things out there, just think about what will happen to your body.
I want want to be a mom. I have baby fever. Sure you do, honey. Just wait.
Then
we'll see how you feel when your lips are hanging down to your knees.
Yeah, really, you got to tuck them back in.
When you got to tuck them into your cute little thongs that are not thongs anymore.
Yeah, right.
When you're wearing those Playtex granny cotton panties because you're on the rag all the time because now your body's like, oh, are we pregnant this week? No. It's not a cute little, oh, I guess I need a little sport-sized tampon at my almond-sized puss. No, that all goes away. I'm sorry to tell you.
Yeah, right, because your uterus is the size of, like, you know, a peach. Walnut. But after you have the kids, you're, you know, got a watermelon-sized uterus in there, and it just
You want to know why your mom is such a
explodes.
bitch? I'll tell you why.
Right. You've ruined her body.
She has to look at herself naked every day, okay? That's why she hates you.
God. I just bypass mirrors.
You're like, what's that? No, I'm a vampire. I see nothing.
Yeah, right.
No reflection. There's no reflection there. Anyway, okay, so the doctor
the doctor comes in.
Right.
And he's like, hi, how are you? So again, he goes over the medication that I'm taking, and I'm just like, okay, you know, like, this is
why are we
taking a long
reviewing
time.
this?
And I'm just like, when does the physical start? You know, I'm like, do I at least take off my shoes? I mean, I just, you know.
Is this a Japanese office?
You know, I just curious. You know, and I'm thinking, I'm like, is he even going to like touch my boobs to see if I have a lump or something like that? I'm just like,
anything?
I'm trying to think of the procedures that can be done with clothes on, you know,
right?
And
because
so
you're confused.
You know, I'm like, I think he can do my reflexes, but I don't know. And so, anyways, he was talking to me about my medication that I take, and he said that every year we counsel patients about, you know, what basically being safe and not overtaking it or blah, blah, blah. So basically, and I told him, I said, well, I'm confused. And he said, what are you confused about? And I said, I thought I was here for a physical. And he's like, what? And so he looks in the computer and he says, no, he says, we have you down for basically a patient counseling on your controlled substance.
What?
And I said, why would that happen? I'm like, I'm the one that made the appointment.
This isn't an intervention, is it?
And so he says, yeah, that doesn't make sense. He says, I guess someone changed it because it's something you need. And they changed it from a physical to this. Oh, and I'm just like, okay. And so he says, we'll get you rescheduled for a physical, and we'll just finish this appointment. And just by now I'd been there 20 minutes, you know.
Well, what the hell are you on that the man-made meth? What's that stuff called that everybody's dying from?
No, I'm on like the lowest dose. It's like an Altoid.
Yeah, it's nothing. What do I know? I'm just like, you're not on meth, so what's the deal? Or the man-made heroin or whatever that they're talking about that's literally killing people by the day,
right.
Which is horrifying. But no, you're not on that stuff, because I would know if you were starting to like act like a chihuahua all the time and scratching your neck. I would know.
So
that's not you.
Anyways,
and you're just sitting there all chill, like, what's going on? Do I look like I'm on drugs? Like, what's happening?
I don't know. He's like, okay. He's like, well, I'll submit your refill. And I'm just like, gee, thanks. You know? And he said, before you leave, though, he says, would you mind submitting a urine sample for drug testing? And
what the hell?
I'm like, well, I don't really have to go, but I mean, I'll give you the best I've got, you know? So they wanted to see if I was taking anything else. And I'm just like, what? Talk about making someone feel like a
drug addict,
criminal.
It's like, what? I'm not trying to get a job here. I just want to know if I can get a pap smear.
I'm like, I just wanted a physical.
I'd be like, hey, can you throw me a freebie and fill my left tit and make sure I don't have breast cancer?
Yeah, right.
Jeez,
I just wanted to make sure. I wanted to get some blood work done to make sure, I didn't have high T cells, so there was no cancer or anything like that.
I mean, do I have AIDS or anything? I mean, I just want to know.
Right.
God.
So
that's
now
ridiculous.
I have to go back on the 30th and get a real physical as far as I'm concerned. They sent me home with some paperwork that I'm supposed to read, and then I can
about
initial.
Drug abuse?
And yes.
Oh, for heaven's sakes.
And then I have to sign it and bring it back with me.
What are you, 10? All right, kids. Now you can't participate in this physical until you sign this paperwork by your parents.
I've never had something so invasive done before, and I've had plenty of pain medications
You've had a strange man's fist up your butt, and this was far more invasive.
Jeez. Well, now that's probably going to happen. He's like, oh, good. Your drugs things came back. All right.
So let's go give you a rectal.
Here, I'm just going to squirt a little lube on my finger and bend over.
Enjoy the show. God, that's crazy. Oh my God. That's never happened to me.
It must be a new thing. I don't know.
I guess that's well, you know what? They better never ask you again. I would just be like, we've done the intervention. Can we get to the physical now? Can we get?
I was waiting for the cameras to come in and be
right?
like, Miss Todd, I want to talk to you about.
I want to talk to you about your 25 milligram codeine pill that you take.
What am I supposed to run down the hallway? Is this because I'm wearing a gray sweatshirt? What is this?
That's so funny. Is this because I have Marlboro Reds in my purse? What is this? God damn it. That's funny. That is so funny. Okay, so speaking of abuse of substances, this last weekend, Daryl's father, Gary, who we adore more than anything, and you do too, had a big dual 70th birthday party up in Reno.
Oh, how fun.
And he and his friend Jay, who is also obviously 70. Now their birthdays, Gary's birthday was in December, but because they're like a week apart, they decided to do a huge bash for their 70th. And it was 70s themed.
Oh,
because
cool.
They're 70. And it was at the Reno Elks Lodge, which is beautiful, by the way. And everything there is basically catered toward the veteran. So they have a bar. It was a cash bar, but the thing is that the drinks were like $2 and $3 a piece. And it was high level liquor. It wasn't like rot gut. It was good liquor.
Right.
So we walk in. So anyway, so we got the invitation like a month or so ago. They're like, it's 70s themed, so you dress 70s, whatever that means to you. So to me, I'm like, well, to me, 70s is like Sonny and Cher, because I was very, very little when I discovered Sonny and Cher. Mm-hmm. And that was in the early to mid 70s. And I was in love with Cher. I was obsessed with her. I thought she was the most beautiful woman I'd ever seen in my life. And so we decided to go with Sonny and Cher.
That's cute.
And my favorite costume that Cher did when I was very little on the Sonny and Cher show was when she dressed up like a Native American.
Oh, God, Jamie.
What? Hey, you don't even know. So Daryl and I went to Party City and we started looking at things. You know, for 70s, for him, it's easy. Just a big mustache and a wig that's got long hair.
Right.
And what was funny is he found a patch of hair for a chest hair. So he bought that, and then he bought the wig and a mustache. And then I found a Native American wig that was really long and black that had some braids with some feathers on it. And so I'm like, oh, I'm done and done. And then they had this really cool, like, Southwestern looking choker with, like, you know, beads and stuff that looked like something that back in the day they would wear. So I got that. But I said, look, this is our version of Sonny and Cher. This is not going to be a legit version. Like, I'm obviously not statuesque and thin and tall and brown, you know, so like Cher. So I'm just going to do what I can do. So I had like a black tube top that I have that looked really good with all the turquoise, because I know how much you love turquoise.
Oh yeah.
And then just jeans, and then, you know, and of course I have these oh my God, I love these shoes that I have. They're like 4-inch heels that are fringe. They're Jessica Simpson. They're this beautiful suede leather with fringe on them. I just love them so much. So I wore those with jeans and the thing, and it looked great. Daryl looked ridiculous, and he was literally the belle of the ball with his chest hair. It looked like a little Wookiee hair, and he like undid his shirt that he had on down to like mid chest so that you could see all the chest hair, and everybody just loved it so much. They thought it was so funny. So we did that, but we walk into this party and expecting everyone to be all decked out in costumes. I would say 30%. And we went all out, and we see Daryl's dad and his wife, and they aren't. He's wearing he's wearing a tuxedo because he's the guest of honor, and his wife is wearing a beautiful dress, but she's got like a faux fur coat on. So I get what she was doing, but it was not like us. We were like costumed out.
Right.
And so there were a couple people like that, but hardly any. So everybody's like, wow, you guys really went all out. I was like, oh my God. So I turned to Daryl, and we both almost at the same time said, these costumes are coming off like in an hour, like
Soon.
before we couldn't wait to get them off, because we felt kind of a little over the top. But we did get a lot of compliments. They're like, oh, I see what you guys are trying to be. So and that was kind of the thing. Oh, we see what you're trying to do. That was pretty much the statement. And so I would say an hour in, the wigs were off. We were done. But it was cute. But it just didn't.
Did the chest hair get passed around or no?
Well, it was on for a while, and everybody kept scratching it and fluffing it up. And they all wanted to take pictures with him with it because they kept thinking that he looked like Austin Powers. And that's what they kept calling him, like, hey, you're Austin Powers. That's so great. He's like, well, I was supposed to be Sunny, but
okay.
So he eventually just rolled with it and ended up being Austin Powers. So, but it was really fun. And let me tell you, those 70-year-olds, they can out party you.
Oh God.
We thought that we could hold our liquor. No. These people, these men, these veterans of the military, these retired police officers, they're respected. They have lived 100 lives more than anybody I know. They can outdrink me and Daryl and many young people under the table twice.
Yeah.
They are hardcore partiers, man. They have lived the life. They can handle their booze. We cannot. That's all I can say.
They've been drinking their whole lives.
And the thing is these men, I can't admire men more than these men that I met. And there were several veterans there, obviously. They're all friends. Several veterans of police forces, of every branch of the military was represented. And these men they don't make them like that anymore. They just don't. Mm-hmm. They do not. Now, the veterans, the current veterans that have served, in later wars or conflicts, I'm sure when they are 70, they will be admired for their abilities and all the life they've lived. These men, you can't just hanging out with them, just watching them party and celebrate life. You're like, I am so glad I'm here to see this. And I told him, I'm like, I'm so glad I know you. It's amazing to know men like that. It really is. And so they, of course, have no sympathy. So we were up until 1 a.m. with them sitting in a lounge. And so Daryl looks at me. He goes, I can't be here anymore. And I said, all right. So I said, well, good night, everybody. I guess we're going to bed. And he's like, all right, good night, Gary. Good night, everyone. So we went upstairs, crashed, woke up in the morning. And by the way, not that it matters, but if you're married and you have kids, there is nothing like hotel sex. It's the best sex you'll ever have. We look forward to it because there's no interruptions. No kid or animal is going to be knocking on your door.
Yeah, that's true.
It's very freeing. So of course, you take advantage, and we did. So we wake up finally in the morning. And I go to the bathroom, and I'm like, I come out and I look at Daryl. I'm like, did you take a shower? He's like, I had to. I'm like, oh, are you all right? He's like, yeah, I'm feeling okay. He's standing in front of me. We're packing up and getting ready to go. His dad has asked us twice to do either breakfast or lunch. And Daryl's like, I can't do it. He goes, it was all the whiskey. I'm like, you cannot drink with your father. You can't keep up with him. You have to stop.
See, this is why I don't drink.
Right? It's not all the medications. It's that you don't want to throw up, right?
Well, I mean... Yeah, it's a combination.
So the thing about when you have spent 24 hours of partying and being in a casino. And oh, by the way, I did gamble $3 whole and I left with 30 cents. That's it. I'm not good at the slots. I'm not a gambler. And so I think because I don't like to gamble, the slot gods just have no desire to give me anything.
No, it's just that it's the house always wins.
Yeah, the girl next to me won like $30. I'm like, see, this is just not...
But she's going to lose it anyway, so.
Probably, but I just was like, oh, why can't I win $30? That just doesn't happen. I just don't win anything. I think it's because they just know. They're like, that girl doesn't gamble. Don't give her anything. She's not going to give us anything, so just don't. But yeah, it was quite the party, and we definitely got our asses kicked by a 70-year-old group of folks. They kicked our ass.
That is funny. That is funny.
All right, well, let's quickly go through television because we need to get to our ugly and awkward moments soon.
Okay.
But you didn't watch 1 minute of the Golden Globes?
I watched the intro with what is his name?
Seth Meyer?
Seth something.
Meyer, yeah.
When I watched it, I'm just like, I know how this is gonna go. I know how this night is gonna go.
Yes.
And it's not even going to be about the movies or the acting or anything. It's just going to be everyone's political stamp on the world. Yes. And I just, when did that happen,
Well, Hollywood is in the spotlight for the casting couch mentality, and it has been for about 6 months since the Weinstein thing came out. So now there is an official movement to, try to change the industry. Now, I will say they stayed away from the Trump stuff, which was
thank
nice.
God.
They because I was like, I'm not watching it. And it's not that I like Trump. It's like, I'm just over it. But they were...
I don't want to hear about it anymore.
Right. They were hyper-focused on the Me Too and women's rights and, entitlement or empowerment. And I'm not against that, by the way. I'm a woman. I am a woman, and I get it. And I don't understand the entertainment industry. So, if this is something I don't understand... I get it. But I, even as a woman, I grow tired of it. I can't listen to yet another beautiful millionaire woman tell me how unfair life is. It's hard for me but I understand the platform. And when Hollywood decides to have a voice about something, it can be powerful, except that I feel like I think that those people are preaching to the choir when they do that. If you are into Hollywood and you're watching the Golden Globes and you're into those actresses and their work, you already know and you already understand. So it's like you're not educating anyone who doesn't think rape is bad. You know what I mean?
And you're not saying anything new.
Right.
You're not saying anything that hasn't already been said. And so it's just... It becomes repetitive and it basically just becomes like, a broken record of skinny rich people.
Not that they don't have their problems. I get it. I mean,
if I had to maintain a skinny body at all times,
I'd be pissed too. I'd be starving.
That would be hard. And I think about actresses, not so much actors, but actresses who have to who in their profession have to maintain, basically this skinny body at any given time. And then they're up for these parts, and I mean, imagine going to an audition and then you're like, okay, I'm excited about this one. And then you see Gwyneth Paltrow in the room and you're just like, fuck, like I'm screwed,
Yeah, I'm not getting this. And by the way, for the record, I hate Rose McGowan. I don't want to hear one more word out of her crazy face.
Why is she even relevant?
I don't even know, and I'm done with it. If she acts like she's the exception to the rule, she is wrong. And I'm sorry that she's a victim of a sexual assault, but I can't even with her anymore. I'm done with her.
She's crazy.
She's not someone that I admire. I just can't with that. But on that note, my only notes on the Golden Globes are this. Women, ladies, please stop with the face fillers. Holy shit. They look like aliens. I can't take it. I cannot take it. For example, Sarah Jessica Parker, I don't know what you're doing, but you have to stop with the fillers. Now, clearly she's not doing anything around the eyes or around the mouth, but she's doing fillers like above her cheek line. She's got this very strange square face going on right now with this teeny tiny body. It looks odd, and she doesn't look good at all. I don't know what's happening with her. It's awful. Ashley Judd, I mean, same thing.
She's been mutilating herself for years.
I mean, the same thing. Now, of course, the last time someone made note of her swollen face, she's like, hey, I'm on steroids. I have a health condition. That ain't steroids. Those are fillers that you have under your cheekbones. It looks horrible. And if she's on steroids and is doing fillers, if that's what that look is, stop with the fillers. Please. It's not necessary. It's awful.
It's like her face looks like a bodybuilder.
It's just and it's so like shiny and smooth looking. It's so weird looking. And then Jennifer Aniston, girl, you got to stop. She's getting the puffy face.
Yeah.
I know that she's 50 and I get it, but it's starting to look full. It's just enough already.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Nicole Kidman, who's been doing this to her forehead and her face.
And her cheeks.
But she got a boost the night before or something.
It's like she's wearing a mask.
I can't. These women are so beautiful. You know who didn't have any filler, or at least had a more tasteful look about it? Catherine Zeta-Jones. Catherine Zeta-Jones was on with Kirk Douglas, and who can barely speak because he's 101. And they rolled him out and had him introduce an award. She looks fantastic. I mean, if she's getting any work done, you can't tell. She's doing it right.
Well,
whoever's doing her looks good.
I don't know. Maybe she is, maybe she isn't. But I mean,
well, she's just older.
You know, kudos to the person that actually braves these people with like no work done.
I know.
I don't know if it's possible, but I'd be like, screw you all. This is my face. Fucking look at it and be disgusted. I don't care.
Well, like Frances McDormand, she won for, I believe, Best Actress. She wasn't even wearing makeup. The woman looked like our mother in the morning. I mean, that's what it was.
She pulled an Alicia Keys, huh?
She looked good. I mean, she looked normal and natural. I'm like, thank you for looking normal. I mean, you're in your 60s. This is what it looks like. But it's so funny that these fierce, angry women in their 50s have so much work done because they refuse to age, and yet here we are going, you will give us our due, we are equal. And it's like, then stop with the fillers.
I'm mad as hell and I'm not going anywhere except without my makeup and my fillers and
my makeup person things. And my hair person and my stylist, damn it. You know? But where's my green tea?
But I'm mad.
Yeah, I know. It's
even though you can't tell because I've had so much Botox.
Because I can't express myself, but that's why I have to wear black and wear this pin, so you know what I'm saying, what I mean. I'm so angry. You just can't tell right now. I am sobbing. So, I mean, I'm not trying to I'm a woman. I get it. I have been sexually harassed. I understand the plight. And Daryl and I got in an argument about it. He's like, he goes, you do not act and think like every other woman I know. So you wouldn't understand. I'm like, hey, listen, Norma Ray, I get it. All right. But if somebody comes up to me and asks me to jack him off or I'm out of the business, I'd say, fuck you, kick me out of the business. I'm not going to do it. But you know what? That's not the same as rape or being cornered in some office or something. That is very different. The only thing I will say about the Hollywood thing is that if 99% of the women said, hell no, I'm not going to suck your dick for that part, good. But there will always be that one who'll go, yeah, I'll do it. You know, you will never convince every single woman in Hollywood to not do it. And that's the problem. That's the problem.
And the thing about sexual harassment is, I mean, Hollywood, I think, is its own animal. And so, you know, for that part, you know, I can't speak to.
Me
But
neither.
in every other industry where the bulk of women are,
Right.
you know, the bulk of women workers and things like that, it's not so extreme. You know, it's not like your boss walks up to you and be like, hey, let me put it in your butt. Otherwise, I'm going to fire you.
They'd be like, what?
So, you know, it's not something like that. It's
Right.
something as simple as, you know, hey, that's a cute outfit. Let's stand up. Let me look at you. You know, something
exactly.
like that, or, you know, just basic things. And if it makes you feel uncomfortable, you're being harassed,
Yeah, then you have to say something.
you know, and you have to say like,
That's what
oh, I
HR 's
don't really
for.
want to. Oh, come on. Or, you know, you walk into his office to ask a question. He's like, oh, there you are in that cute outfit.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
but that's harassment, and
It
it
is.
happens.
It does happen. You're right. No, most people aren't cornered in an office to say, I'm going to have sex with you or you're not my secretary anymore.
Right.
It is true. Hollywood is its own animal. But I mean, like I said, I understand the general statement is admirable. I do agree. And the convincing isn't going to be the men. The men are terrified. It's like when Fatal Attraction came out, every husband became incredibly faithful immediately because they didn't want a psycho.
They didn't want a rabbit boiled on their stove.
Nobody is harassing anyone in Hollywood, but it's the women who now, and I don't know who, I'm just saying in general, there's going to be the one starlet that will say, hey, director, I'll suck your dick for that part. That's
Yeah.
always going to happen. And until women stop doing that, there will always be a trade of goods. Sex for parts. It's going to happen, you know? I mean, unless they change it. And if they eradicate it, excellent. It's only been going on since the 20s. But hey, who am I to say? I'm not in it. I'm not in Hollywood, so I don't know.
Well, exactly. And let's not pretend just because someone's a millionaire and they're an actor that they won't slum it to, you know, be like,
exactly.
hey.
Anyway, and then on the final note, no, we don't want Oprah to be our president, okay?
No, that's the
It was a great speech, but no.
that's the strangest thing I've ever heard in my life.
People just needed a pick-me-up, and she provided it. And I like Oprah, actually. I
Never, ever in my life have liked Oprah.
she's a self-made billionaire, Paula. She's
No,
admirable.
and that's great. Good for
Yeah.
her. But I've
Yes.
never bought into the
No.
Oprah brand.
Me neither, but I do admire anyone who's a self-made anything. And on that, I absolutely admire the woman. I relate to her in the fact that she had a tough childhood. Hers was far worse than ours, of course. But in all of that, you know, I think she's definitely an example of what can be done in this country specifically, but I don't want her being my president. End of discussion.
Right.
Okay, well, we should do our ugly and awkward moment of the week. We're running out of time.
This week, the boys decided they were going to go see the new Star Wars.
Oh, okay.
I was like, yay, good for you guys. Meanwhile, Olivia and I will go see Ferdinand
Oh, the bull movie.
because Olivia can't see Star Wars. It's too violent.
Yeah, she wouldn't like it anyway.
She'd be bored, but okay. I don't go to the movies like ever.
Yeah.
I really think the last time I went to the movies was on a date. And
Oh my God.
I think it was the movie This Is 40.
Oh, wow. That was a while ago.
Yeah. And so back then, they didn't have these like recliner seats things.
Oh, that's true. They've upgraded.
And the movie that we saw, Ferdinand, it was also a 3D movie. So we had the 3D glasses, we had the recliner seats, and then I was just like, wow, there's a lot going on here. And so I'm holding my jumbo size popcorn, and I've got my, giant soda next to me.
Yes.
Someone was getting ready to come down the aisle. Well, I didn't realize there's still enough room to get down the aisle, even if your chair is fully extended.
Yeah, there's a big gap now.
Right. And so I didn't know that. So I was like, oh, okay. So I started to push my seat like backwards to try and make room for them.
Oh, God.
And I had my popcorn between my knees. Well, when the chair went forward, my popcorn spilled all over the floor. Like to the point where everyone was looking at me like, what the hell is going on down there? And so Olivia, she's like, Mom, what are you doing? And she was like so embarrassed.
Like, I can't take you anywhere.
She was so embarrassed.
You want to hear something funny?
What?
That happened to me. I did the same exact thing, except I was with our whole family, and it was like primed. I did the same thing. It was everywhere. I was like, and then me, I'm all, oh no.
And so
I can see it.
I said to Olivia, I'm like, here, hold this. So I give her the popcorn. I go to, and they're outside. There's like a group of little ushers, and they all have those brooms and like.
You went and got a broom?
Broom and sweeper. Jamie, there was popcorn everywhere.
Oh my God.
And the movie hadn't even started. We were in like the, where it shows like symbols and everything and guess the movie. And I'm like, Toy Story,
Tom Hanks.
Right.
Yeah, it's always Tom Hanks.
So I'm like, this can't be. And so I went over there. And I'm like, excuse me. I'm like, would you mind if I borrowed this little broom and sweeper thing? And I'm like, I spilled popcorn everywhere. And he's like, oh, I'll come help you with that.
Oh,
and
no.
So
now you've made a scene. Now it's a thing.
Like,
oh, no.
I'm like, thank you, Lamar. I really appreciate that.
Thank you, Lamar. Please come with me.
So he comes over, and so I don't know what to do. So I'm just standing next to him while he's sweeping. So,
God, it became a situation. Oh, no. Did you get a free refill, too?
He told me that, and I'm like, no, that's fine. I don't.
It's like, I've taken up enough
And
of your
I'm
time,
like,
Lamar.
really? I'm
Thank
like,
you.
I don't need to be eating the jumbo size. So
You're like, this was a blessing.
it was fine. So anyway,
Oh my God, that is so
it was
funny.
embarrassing. It was so embarrassing.
That's a good one. Oh, because the people in front of you, they're all lady crazy.
Well, and we were kind of closer to the front, so I mean, everyone behind us, I'm sure, was just like, "What's going on?
Oh my
What did she do?
God.
She spilled her popcorn. How much? Like a lot?
Oh my God, do you know
she
how
had the
much
jumbo
money that
size."
is? That is so expensive. Don't ever spill your popcorn with me. That's $10.
Well, I got the
man.
number one, so I saved 50 cents. But
Well, congratulations. Okay, that's good. Well, I think you won, but I'll tell you mine anyway. So like I said earlier, I've been waking Daryl up a lot lately, and it's just for dumb reasons. And I don't know if it's because I'm going through an anxiety issue or whatever, but I have not been sleeping well. And I do have options to medicate myself when I have insomnia. However, I don't know about you, but at a certain point in the night, if you don't take anything, if you take it, you'll be a comatose patient until like 10 a.m.
yeah, you can't
So
really take
there's
anything past like 3 o'clock or anything.
Yeah, there comes a point in the night where you go, if I take something now because I've waited too long, I'm useless and I have to drive in 3 hours. So I probably shouldn't take anything. So I don't even remember what it was. I'm laying in bed. I'm wide awake. It's like 3 a.m. And I'm looking at my phone, and something good happened, and I can't even remember what it was, but something good happened, and I was reading about it. Oh, I think it was John Gruden is the new Raiders coach for next year, which I'm so thrilled.
Oh.
And they confirmed it, and it was like 3 a.m., and I'm reading it, and I'm super excited. I turned on my I don't even know, because I've been awake for so long. I don't know really. It doesn't feel like it's in the middle of the night and Daryl's asleep. I turned on my phone flashlight. Don't ask me why I did this. And I flashed Daryl in the face. I go, "Are you awake?"
He's like,
I woke him out of a dead sleep. And he puts his hand up like he's being interrogated by the police. He's all, ah! He goes, "What's going on?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm sorry. Were you not waking? Were you not awake?" He's like, It's 3 o'clock in the morning. No, I was not awake. He's like, "What is wrong with you?" I'm all, "John Gruden's going to be the Raiders coach." He's like, "Have you slept?" I'm like, "No, I haven't." He's like, "Oh my God." And he's like, he's like, "No, Jamie." And so then now he's awake and angry. And I'm like, why do I do stuff like that? It's like, who do I think I am besides being completely awkward in the middle of the night in my own room?
See, that's why
Anyway, you win.
Oh, okay.
Oh, absolutely, you win.
Forward that kind of stuff on Facebook or something like that,
Well, actually,
there's always a captive audience.
Right. And what threw him off is like, why did you turn on your flashlight? I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. I was tired. I just thought I needed to see your face. So I turned on the flashlight. I had lost it by then.
Trying to see your eyeballs.
So. Yeah. Just like, he's like, ah! It's funny. He's a victim of my awkwardness. It was sad.
That's
actually,
funny.
I felt really bad.
Anyways, well,
you win 10,000 points.
Yay! All right. Well, I think that's a wrap for this week. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. And thank you for your purchases on Amazon and our Avon site as well. We always appreciate your patronage. Have a fabulous week. Be sure to come listen to us again on Wednesday. We'll have more content for you and more funniness. Other than that, we will see you Wednesday. Bye.
Bye.
That's a wrap. Thanks for listening and sharing the show. See you next time on The Uglee Truth.